Hey y'all, this is Jazz and I'm coming back with another video, and today I want to talk about self-care and self-love. I feel that when we, tell people, oh, you just need to practice some self-care or you just need to have some self-love, we really don't realize how loaded those statements are. So today I'm going to come with 3 things that I have used to help me become better in the whole self-love and self-care aspect. And you can come up with your own. I just wanted to share these things with you because I feel like when we tell people to do things, sometimes they need the how-to of doing it, if that makes sense. So I'm praying and hoping that this blesses you and that it helps you. So the first thing I want to say is that self-care and self-love takes maturity. Self-care and self-love takes maturity. Y'all, listen. When I embarked upon this journey about a year and a half ago, it really stemmed from me having bouts with, overthinking, and I was just mentally exhausted because I felt like I was thinking all the time about, and not only thinking, but just worrying too, just all of that worrying, doubt, fear, all of that. It was just taking toll on my mind, and it was things that were really outside of my control. I was trying to keep my hands on everything, but here I am saying that I trust God, but I'm trying to keep my hands in everything, right? So I really felt the negative effects of that. And so I came to a point where I said, you know what, I have to take better care of me because it was starting to affect my sleep and, my rest and all of that. And so when I decided to embark upon this self-care and self-love journey, it was because I knew that I had to get me to a better place. I knew that I had to get some type of order. I had to get a grip, basically, on what I was doing. So, like I said, self-care and self-love, it takes maturity. It takes you being honest with yourself and saying, you know what, I am just all over the place. It takes you being honest and mature about where you really are and saying, you know what, I have lost control of this situation. I have lost, control of where I'm going, how I'm going, when I'm going. I don't know what my priorities are or any of that. So self-care and self-love takes you calling yourself out on your stuff. It takes you holding yourself accountable and responsible. And it was not easy. It was not easy because I wanted to justify, my worrying, or I wanted to justify why I made this decision and didn't consult God about it. And, I had to get to the root of some things internally as to why I was even thinking the way that I was. And that's going to be a whole nother video in itself. But I just want to tell you that it's going to take some maturity from you. It's going to take you being honest about some things, and it's going to be hard. It may be challenging because I don't know what your circumstances or your situations are, but for some things, when you're trying to get to the root of really loving yourself, of really caring for yourself, you're going to find that those things may have been replaced with some other attachments. How we like to overcompensate for things sometimes. So I had to confront myself on that. I'm like, okay, so what negative habits did I pick up because I was trying to compensate for this? Or what negative attachments did I pick up to try to fill this void? You get what I'm saying? I had to do all of that, from unhealthy eating and when I'm stress eating and all that kind of stuff. I had to check myself on that, and I'm not perfect. I don't get it right all the time, but now that I know, then I now have the tools to really approach it better. Okay, so the second thing I want to say about self-care and self-love is that it takes time. It takes time. When you go through that process of being real about what your triggers are, say for instance, you're still triggered by grief, or by heartbreak, or by loss of finances, or by failure, or I don't know what your situation is, but whatever that thing is that triggers you, you're going to have to take some time to navigate through it. You're going to have to take some time and say, you know what, why is it affecting me this way? Why do I feel this way? And why, am I allowing it to be a hindrance to me and to where I'm going? And so what I did was I always kept a notebook, and I just would write down my thoughts, because sometimes we like to keep stuff in our head. I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm good. Time heals all wounds. We like to say that. But I feel like that's true in a sense, but if you're not really dealing with something, it's just sitting there and other stuff is just kind of piling on top of it. And so the thing about self-care and self-love is you creating a space where you can be honest with yourself about where you are, where you would like to go, and you get to dealing with those things one at a time, and you know, and figure out how to navigate through it. Some people may feel like they may need, you know, therapy or counseling. You know, I'm for that. Whatever you have to do to make sure that you are in a better space, you know, go for it. But I feel like as far as the personal responsibility, it lies within us first to say, you know what, I need to deal with that. And it's gonna take time. So don't rush yourself. And I'm really putting an emphasis on time, because just using myself for an example, I like to just go head on and go. But I found when I really didn't deal with things and I just kind of overlooked it, pushed past it, you know, it would manifest in another way. And then boom, there I go back dealing with it again. You get what I'm saying? But it was because I didn't deal with the root of the issue at first, and it just manifested in another way. All right. So the last thing that I want to say about self-care and self-love is that it is rewarding. It is rewarding. Ever since I started on this journey a year and a half ago, when I tell you I see such a difference in my attitude, I see a difference in my perspective, I see a difference in how I communicate with people, I see a difference in how I even expect outcomes and things like that. I'm more positive about things, or trying to make sure I find the positive in it, where I won't knock myself back into that whole negative thinking kind of role again. And so I'm so proud of that. And that's why I say it's so rewarding, because you set boundaries. You set boundaries when you go through the process of self-care, because like I said, you're finding out what your triggers are. You're finding out what those negative attachments, you know, you had. So now when you are going about life, and like I said, this is a daily process. I have not arrived. I don't think I'll ever arrive. I think daily I'm just choosing me. That's what it's about. It's about being intentional and choosing you. So daily I am choosing me, and I'm setting boundaries to say, you know what, after this time, you know, I'm not answering my phone. Guess what? That's a boundary, because your girl needs her sleep. You know, your girl needs her rest, or whatever I'm doing, or on this off day, I'm gonna set boundaries, and I'm not going to I'm just not gonna do this. Whatever it is, you know, whatever your thing is, when you set boundaries, right? And you say, you know what, this don't bring any type of joy to my life. It takes from me. It does not reciprocate anything positive into my life. So you know what? I have to disconnect from that. And sometimes self-care and self-love looks like, you know what? I just don't have it to really deal with this conversation right now. You know, I love you. I'm going to pray for you. But right now, the mental space I have reserved is for me to be at peace right now. That is totally okay. It is you knowing yourself well enough to say, you know what? I have to save this safe space for me, because I don't want to get out of whack, especially when you're worrying about other people's issues. And that's another video too. Another thing is it helps you to prioritize. You know, it's rewarding because you're able to prioritize your schedule. You're able to say, you know what? I need to do this, that, and the third, and you commit to it. Going back to being intentional about, you know, your self-care and self-love. It's about prioritizing and saying, you know what, this is important for me to do. If you going to walk, you know, on the track, or hike, or exercise, if that is a priority of yours, you keep it as a priority. Okay, it's rewarding because you know it's something that makes you feel good. It's something that relieves stress, right? You know, or you like to paint, you like to dance, you know, things that you really enjoy. Keep those things as a priority, because it brings balance. And the last thing about self-care being and self-love being rewarding is it boosts your confidence. Listen, when you get you some self-care and some self-love, you get a whole new glow. You get a whole new glow about yourself, okay? You're like, you know what? I'm taking care of me. I'm casting down negative thoughts. I'm thinking positivity. I have prayed. I have read my Bible. I have mastered this goal for the week, and you set small goals, for things that you're working towards, and it makes you feel good because you're like, man, I am really doing it. That's how I be feeling, y'all. I be like, I be checking stuff off my list. I'm like, your girl is doing it. And it's because it's just so rewarding when you do things for yourself, when you invest in yourself in the ways that you do for other people, and you see those things returning back to you. It is so rewarding. So I just wanted to share these things with you guys. Like I said, I don't have all of the answers. As God gives things to me, I share them with you all because I believe that we all can help each other grow in some way, shape, or form. And so I thank God for giving me this platform to speak to you guys and to encourage you guys, and for you all to do the same. For me, I appreciate each of you for your likes, your comments, your follows, and stuff like that. I really appreciate it because, this is our community. This is how we keep each other lifted and how we keep each other encouraged. So I hope that what I've said about self-care and self-love today has blessed you. Until next time, you guys be blessed.